Lesson 1-9, Multiply Rational Numbers. In this video, we're going to review how to multiply fractions, decimals, and mixed numbers. And we'll also review how to use the distributive property. So first off, what does it mean to multiply rational numbers? Well, rational numbers are going to be fractions. They could also be mixed numbers. They could also be decimals, but decimals that terminate or they repeat. And they could also be integers. They could also be whole numbers. So one thing to remember when you're multiplying rational numbers is that these numbers can be positive and negative. So if the factors have the same sign, the product is always going to be positive. If the factors have different signs, that's the only way to have a negative answer. So let's take a look at an example. When track season is over, Miss Alea decreases the distance of her weekday runs by 1.1 miles per week for 3 weeks in a row. What rational number represents the total decrease in Miss Alea's runs for the 3 weeks? First, we're going to estimate, and then we're going to multiply to find the exact answer. So if we're going to estimate 1.1 miles per week, that we would say that's about 1. And 3 weeks, that'd be just 3. But if it's decreasing, this is a negative, so -1. So we would say it's decreasing or going down by 3, and that's what this -3 will represent. It's decreasing by 3 miles total. Now, if we were to find the exact answer, we would have -1.1, and we would multiply that by 3, which we would get a -3.3 miles. Next, estimate these by rounding first and then find the product. So I would run around -13.7. I would say -14. And then we're going to multiply that by -9.2, which would be -9. Since the signs are the same, I know my answer is going to be positive. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 3 is 12. So 126 as my estimate. Now, if I were to find the exact answer, I would have -13.7 times -9.2. Since I know the answer is going to be positive, I'm not going to put the negative signs in there. So 2 times 7 is 14. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 times 1 is 2. Put our 0 down. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 6 is 33. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12. If I combine, I get 4, 10, this would be 6. And you'll notice I have 2 decimal places in my problem, so I have 2 in my answer. So that's how we would get 126.04. Now this next one is fractions. So 6/7 we rounded to 1. 4 1/3, that's closer to 4. So I would have 4 times 1, which would be 4. Now if I were to find the exact answer, I would keep this as 6/7. I would change the mixed number into an improper fraction. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So this would be 13/3. Then here's where you can multiply the numerator times the numerator and denominator times the denominator and then simplify. I'm going to simplify first. I can divide a 3 here and get a 1. 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. And then I can multiply straight across and I get 26/7. And this would be my exact answer. You could put that as a mixed number if you wanted to. That would give me 3 5/7. But otherwise, I would just keep it as an improper fraction from there. Next, find this product. Here we're just multiplying straight across. So if I multiply straight across, I'm left with -36/55. There is not a common factor in the numerator and the denominator, so this would be my simplified answer. You notice it's negative because one's positive and one's negative. Next is reviewing the distributive property, where you're going to multiply the factor on the outside by every number on the inside. So here I'm going to do I have negative 4/5 times negative 1.25, and then negative 4/5 times 5/8. But I'm going to make this a little bit different. I'm going to change everything to fractions. So this is going to be negative 4/5 times a negative 5/4. So 1.25 is 5/4, or 1 1/4. And then I have plus 5/8. And then I use the distributive property. Negative 4 times negative 5 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20. Then I have plus negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. 5 times 8 is 40. So right now I have 20 20ths, which would be 1, plus a negative 20 40ths is 1/2. So I have 1 minus 1/2, which would give us 1/2 as our answer. Next, find this product. Here we have negative 9 times 4.19. So let me just put that up here. Let me get rid of this negative so that we don't want that to make it look like it's a subtraction problem. Since one of the numbers factors are negative and the other one's positive, I know my answer is going to be a negative. So 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 8 is 17. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 1 is 37. And since I have 2 decimal places in the problem, I need 2 in my answer. So my answer would be 37.71, but it's going to be negative because one of the numbers is negative. Next, I have negative 5.15. I'm going to multiply that by 2.4. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 4 times 5 is 20. Put a 0 down. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. Combine, you get 0, you get 6, we get 3, you got 2, we got 1. There's a total of 3 decimal places in the problem, so I have 3 in my answer. So the answer would be, and this is negative because one's positive, one's negative, it would be negative 12.36. And our last type of problems, here we're going to distribute, so negative 3, and I'm going to make this as a fraction, so 1 2/10 would be 1 1/5, and 1 1/5 would be 6/5. So I'll make that 6/5. Then let's distribute. This would give us 24/48. And then negative 3/4 times 6/5 would be a negative, or plus a negative 18/20. So if I simplify that, 24/48, that's half, plus an 18/20, I can divide that by 2 halves, and now it's going to give us a negative 9/10. And I can rewrite this because I can multiply this by 5/5. That's going to give me not 10/10, it'd be, so we'll have 5/10 plus a negative 9/10, which is going to give us a negative 4/10, which reduced would give us a negative 2/5. And our last one here just distributes. So here it's negative 5, just treat that as negative 5/1. So that's going to give us negative 15/5. And since I have a subtracting a negative, I'm really adding here inside here. So that's going to be a negative 5 times 13, which is going to give us a negative 65 over 20. And I need common denominators, so I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by 4 over here. And this is going to give us a negative 60 20ths plus a negative 65 20ths. And this is going to give us a negative 125 over 20. And I can simplify here. I can divide the top and bottom by 5. And that's going to give us a negative 25 over 4. So negative 25 fourths. Or if you want to put it as a mixed number, you can also put that as a mixed number. So that is a review on multiplying rational numbers.